Here's something most guys completely miss. When a woman wants your attention romantically, she doesn't walk up and announce it. She doesn't wave a flag. Instead, she does things that look almost accidental. Small shifts, strange behaviors, moments that don't quite make sense unless you know what you're looking at. And here's the thing. I've been that woman. I've done every single one of these things hoping a guy would notice. And most of the time, he didn't. Not because he wasn't interested, because he wasn't paying attention to the right details. Once you see these signals, you'll start catching what she's actually communicating, even when she hasn't said a word. Attraction often lives in the space between words, and learning to read that space changes everything about how you experience connection. 1. She adjusts her posture the moment you enter her peripheral vision. You walk into a room, you're not even looking at her yet, but somewhere off to the side, she clocks your presence and something shifts. Her shoulders roll back slightly. Her spine straightens almost imperceptibly. She wasn't slouching before, but now there's an alertness in how she holds herself. Most guys never catch this because they're focused on the direct stuff. Eye contact, smiles, words, but her body responds before any of that. It's involuntary. The moment you become a factor in her environment, her posture says what her mouth won't. I want to look good when he sees me. If you start noticing this subtle straightening, especially when she doesn't know you're watching, you're seeing attraction before it becomes conscious, and that's exactly when it's most honest. Body language often reveals intent, long before someone is aware of it themselves. 2. She finds reasons to stand in your walking path. You're moving through a space, maybe toward the bar, maybe toward the door, maybe just shifting to grab something. And somehow, without explanation, she ends up right where you're about to be. Not blocking you, just there, refilling her drink at the exact moment you approach the counter. Checking her phone in the hallway you're about to walk through. Adjusting her jacket near the exit you're heading toward. This isn't coincidence. This is engineering. She's manufacturing proximity without initiating contact, which lets her stay in your orbit without the vulnerability of approaching you directly. What she's really doing is creating collisions, moments where interaction becomes almost inevitable, where you might brush past her, say excuse me, or catch her eye at close range. She's not chasing you. She's placing herself where being noticed becomes effortless. Most men walk right past these setups without realizing she built them. But here's what changes everything. When you do notice, when you stop and engage, in that manufactured moment, you're not just being friendly. You're rewarding her courage. You're saying, I see what you did there, and I'm glad you did. These moments are subtle tests of awareness and responsiveness. 3. She tells you about dreams she had that included you. She mentions it casually, almost too casually. You were in my dream last night. It was so random. Then she laughs it off, waves her hand like it's nothing. But pay attention to what just happened. She's telling you that when her conscious mind switched off, when she had zero control over where her thoughts went, they went to you. That's not random. That's her subconscious putting you in the storyline when there are billions of other possibilities. And the fact that she's sharing it, that's the real signal. She could have kept it to herself. Most people do. Dreams feel private, a little vulnerable, sometimes embarrassing, but she wanted you to know. She wanted you to sit with the idea that you've taken up residence somewhere in her mind she can't fully control. When a woman tells you about a dream you were in, don't laugh it off. Ask her what happened. Watch how she reacts when she has to describe more. That hesitation, that slight blush, that's where the truth lives. Sharing dreams is a way of sharing emotional intimacy without directly naming it. For she touches her own neck when you're watching something else. You're focused on something. The TV, your phone, a conversation with someone else. She's nearby, maybe sitting across from you, maybe standing at the edge of the group. And in your peripheral vision, if you're paying attention, her hand drifts to her neck. Fingers trace her collarbone. She adjusts a necklace that didn't need adjusting. This is unconscious self-soothing mixed with subtle display. The neck is vulnerable, exposed. When she draws attention to it while you're not directly looking at her, she's doing two things at once. She's calming her own nervous system, because your presence is activating something, and she's highlighting a part of herself she wants you to eventually notice. It's not performative in the obvious sense. She's not posing. She's regulating. And that regulation tells you something important. You make her feel something she needs to manage. Nervous system responses often reveal attraction more clearly than words ever could. 5. She positions herself so you can see her profile. There's a specific kind of awareness that happens when a woman angles her body. Not facing you directly, not turned away, but positioned at that precise 3/4 view where her profile is on display. Jawline visible, silhouette defined. It looks natural, like she just happened to sit that way. It's not. Profile positioning is one of the oldest attraction signals that flies under the radar because it's so subtle. She's presenting without confronting, displaying without demanding. It gives her plausible deniability. She's just sitting there, right? While maximizing how attractive she appears in your line of sight. Watch for this at parties, in meetings, at coffee shops. When she consistently orients herself so her side is visible to you rather than her back or direct front. She's curating what you see. Presentation without pressure is a powerful form of communication. 6. She mentions when she almost texted you but didn't. I almost sent you this thing yesterday, but then I thought it was dumb. She laughs. You move on, but hold on a second. Think about what she just admitted. She saw something and thought of you. That's the first thing. In a world of infinite stimuli, something crossed her path and her brain said he would appreciate this. Then, and here's the important part, she stopped herself. There was a moment of hesitation. Is this too much? Will he read into it? What if he doesn't respond? She navigated that whole internal debate and landed on not sending it. But now, she's telling you anyway, which means she wanted you to know that you occupy her thoughts even when you're not there. She wanted credit for the restraint and the impulse. When a woman tells you about the text she almost sent, she's handing you a window into how often you cross her mind. Don't dismiss it. Ask her what it was. Let her know you would have wanted to see it. This reassures her that her interest is welcome. 7. She laughs slightly before the funny part lands. You're telling a story, building toward the punchline, and just before you hit it, before the joke actually lands, she's already laughing. Not a full laugh, a small one, a breath of anticipation. This is her attention showing. She's so tuned into your rhythm, so invested in what you're saying that her response gets ahead of the content. She's not laughing at the joke yet. She's laughing because she's enjoying watching you tell it. She's laughing because your energy is contagious to her before your words even deliver. Most guys don't catch this timing. They just hear laughter and assume they're funny. But early laughter is different. It's not about the content, it's about the source. This kind of response shows emotional alignment and engagement. I want to touch on something that silently affects everything we've been talking about, your brain. Because here's the thing. Noticing these signals requires more than just knowing what to look for. It requires sustained attention, mental clarity, the ability to hold multiple threads at once while you're in the middle of a conversation. And when your brain is tired, when you're running on poor sleep, scattered focus, that foggy feeling where nothing quite lands, you're not catching anything. You're just trying to keep up. Most guys don't realize how much cognitive energy social situations actually demand. Reading her posture, catching that early laugh, noticing when her feet point toward you while she's talking to someone else. All of that requires your brain to be running well, not just present, sharp. Mental awareness is the foundation of social awareness. That's why I've partnered with today's sponsor, Axos Supplements. Their creatine monohydrate isn't just for the gym. Research shows creatine supports cognitive function, memory, and mental clarity by helping your brain produce the energy it needs to perform. When your system is properly fueled, you think faster, you notice more, and you don't burn out halfway through a conversation wondering what you missed. This isn't about becoming superhuman. It's about removing the fog that's been making everything harder to see. They've set up a 10% discount exclusively for people watching this. Links in the description and pinned comment. 8. She checks her reflection only when you might be looking. She walks past a window and glances at herself. She pulls out her phone and angles it just enough to catch her face. She adjusts her hair using a dark screen as a mirror. None of this is unusual. What's unusual is when it happens. If she's checking herself when you've just entered the room, when you've just looked away, when you're about to look back, she's not maintaining her appearance for herself. She's auditing how she looks.